So it's always important to ask yourself, what is your journey? And then what's the next step? What's it really look like? So for me, I love this quote before I even go any further. The call to adventure signifies that destiny has summoned the hero. Joseph Campbell. He's one of the great influences on my life. If you don't know who he is, look him up. He's the one that mapped out famously the hero journey. So I've mapped it out as fire, freedom, fulfillment. And I'm going to explain that. For me, it's about the fire of courage, the freedom of expression, and the fulfillment of purpose. And so, what I've done is I've laid out a journey that I call the Awaken the Dragon. And it's in two different formats. There's the 10-week online and the 3-day journey. Right now, these days, we've just been doing the 10-week online, and it has been incredibly impactful for men and taking them through across the 10 weeks, this journey of fire, freedom, fulfillment. And so the purpose of the Awaken the Dragon training is to embolden you to soar beyond the limits that have prevented you from becoming the man you are destined to be, so that you advance in your pursuit of greatness with the renewed fire of a dragon and the strength of a brotherhood seeing you through. So take a moment to just be with that as I leave this purpose posted up here, and really check in with any part of that, or if the entire statement really resonates with you, with where you're at, with what you're looking for, with why that's important. See what in this most resonates for you. And now the benefits of the Awaken the Dragon, and these are reported benefits from men, as well as intended, designed benefits, is to gain the certainty of the path that you need to be on. So what does your personal path really look like? Then to pursue that path with courage and fortitude, to achieve far more than you ever thought possible, to live your most engaging and fulfilling life, to form meaningful masculine relationships, brotherhood, to never go at it again, to never go at it alone again, because you've got men who've got your back. And then the bottom line is having the experience of winning at this game of life, no matter what is happening in your life or in the world around you. And I think that's especially going to be important, that last part, in today's climate, the social, political unrest, the pandemic still going, as we're entering a holiday season. It's going to be our first with this pandemic, and cutting across into a new year. I can see many people losing hope. Right. And for me, it's still incredibly important to have hope. And I know that can sound like Pollyanna, but that is why I invite men into environments like this, where they can genuinely see it for themselves, see it in other men, and create that type of connection that the environment pushes men forward toward their own path and toward what fulfillment really looks like for them. So if that's something that really resonates for you, this is a journey for you. I'm going to play this video here of one of our graduates, and I'm actually going to separate it and play it separately on another video. So for now, let me give you the program breakdown. Comes out to 10 weekly live sessions of group coaching. So we get on a call, the participants, they are recorded. So if by any chance you can't make it to one, that's fine. You can still check in. The recording will be posted within 24 hours. It's usually about 2 hours. It's going to be on Wednesday nights. There are videos and documents with exercises, right? Stuff to do in between the sessions, week to week. There's a buddy system that is created so that you work with fellow dragons every week in doing the work with each other, right? So it becomes an introduction to masculine relationships. And then there's a graduation ceremony at the end with previous graduates of the program who come out, and it's really a way to experience connection to greater community, to other men that have gone on this journey as you just did. Details here, you can register at the site manpath.net. It's $997 until December 7th, and then it's $1497 after that. It begins just 2 days later, December 9th. Payment plan is in place, already there on the site and automated and set up 2 payments of 507 or 3 payments of 347 or 4 payments of 267, whatever it is that works best for you, so that money is not a barrier, right? If you really want this thing, go for it, make it work. I have spent from November 2016 to today, November 2020, which is 4 years, I've spent about $69,000 is what I've estimated in training and development programs. I've made it all work through payment plans because there was just no way for me to shell out, say, 20,000 at a time, or the most expensive program was 35,000. So I would go on payment plans in order to make all this stuff work. So for me, I don't want money to have to be a barrier. Make it work. So whatever it takes, and this has been set up and designed to be able to be a bridge for you to pursue this thing if it really calls to you. So then we get into the journey before the journey. And what this really looks like is after you register, you're going to receive an automated email with a questionnaire. Important to take your time in filling out that questionnaire because that really is your stake in the ground. All right. And it's going to get you to start thinking about why you're doing this thing. What do you really want? Why is that important to you? And then why do this program? And we're going to spend some time just revisiting the questionnaire so that you really sharpen that for yourself, because it's incredibly important for a man to have some clarity of purpose up front. Even if you don't know up front and you're not sure, that's fine. Answer the questions as honestly as you can. There's no right or wrong answer. There's only a truthful answer. Whatever your truth is, wherever it's at the moment that you're filling this thing out. Okay. Early bird bonus, which can help you with your questionnaire. If you register by this Saturday at 11:59 p.m., you will get a 30-minute discovery call with me in which I can then help you, mentor you, coach you through the questionnaire process to help sharpen your focus so that you can really lay that stake in the ground. So again, you register at manpath.net. And when you do so, you get $100 off of the Awaken the Dragon Weekend Men's Journey for 2021, which we're currently looking for April. But of course, that really depends on what happens with the coronavirus. Okay, so here are all the details laid out for you. Any questions or anything? Post them in the chat, post them in comments, and I'll be more than happy to answer any questions that you've got. Who's this for? Yeah, let me lay this out. This is really for a man who is hungry for much more out of life. Even if you've achieved some success in life, but you're still looking for more, or you might be that man that's achieved success, but you can't quite put your finger on it. There's still something missing, right? And it might be the thing that's keeping you up at night. In the end, no matter where you're at, no matter what you may be challenged with, you are the man that is hungry for more. You are the man that is hell-bent on finding a solution. You are the man that's going to bring a level of willingness that's going to have this thing work. As you learn in the program, willingness is the very first step. Without willingness, you got nothing. It's game over before we even get started. So you need to bring a level of willingness. And we're talking willingness to confront difficult things. And I mean difficult things within yourself. What are those real stumbling blocks, those roadblocks that have been keeping you from achieving what it is that you really want out of life? That has been keeping you from that experience of winning at this game of life. Those benefits that I mentioned earlier, that has been keeping you from those more meaningful relationships. You have to confront those things. And yeah, I've got to tell you straight, it will not always be easy. But if you are willing to go through it, coming out on the other side, I guarantee you it will be incredibly rewarding, right? You can't run from the thing. You got to go through it. There's that old great saying about when you're going through hell, you just got to keep going. That is the only way out is the only way out is the way through. So yeah, if you can register before Saturday, 11:59 p.m., great. then you'll get a 30-minute call with me. Now, another thing here, the price, the structure, and all of that, that's for 2 seats, which means that if you know someone that you know would be committed to something like this, someone that you think would get value from this kind of a journey, you can register with that person, right? That person will come in as your committed co-registrant. And then you could forward that person the questionnaire and have them fill it out. I'll receive it and then we'll go through it. And I do read all of the questionnaires before the program starts. All right. And I'm going to have you reread them and reevaluate them throughout the program. All right. Because things do change. And it's not until you start going down the journey where you start to realize where course correction has been needed and where you may have thought something that you wanted is not really what you wanted, or you wind up getting, as one man has pointed out, you get what you didn't know you needed. And that's one of the things that makes the journey so incredibly rewarding. All right. So, yeah, I'm going to close with a story here. And that's, the reason that I do this, for me, it's my way of paying it forward. You could say that this was my first ritual, where in September of 1990, I had a brother that died. I was 17 years old and he was 38, if you can believe it. So he was a lot older than me. So when he died, it was a huge blow because it was, I grew up alone. He and I were obviously not raised together. So I grew up alone with my parents. It was a very difficult situation with them. It was an abusive household. It was in a rough neighborhood. So when he came into my life only a year before he died, we spent a year together that was just incredible. He showed me what real brotherhood and masculine connection is like, trusted masculine bonds. He showed me mentoring because, especially given how much older he was, how much more life experience he had, he was able to guide me. And there was just a love and a connection there. And especially because he showed me how many more relatives I actually have. And it turns out I had a much larger family than I ever knew. So when he died, it was very, very hard. For 9 years, September. So basically, this defined the 1990s for me. Every year, September would roll around and it would be like an annual depression ritual. Like clockwork, I would start to get depressed because the date of his death was coming up again, the anniversary. And it wasn't until at some point in 1999 where somebody gave me the idea. And when I look back on it, it really floors me as to how I couldn't see this. Somebody gave me the idea of, well, why don't you give a dying man his last wish? Because you see, the last conversation that I had with my brother was our one and only fight. And I was supposed to see him in the hospital that Thursday. He died the day before. So I never got to meet with him to make things right. And it just remained like this open wound, right? Like an open loop that needed closing. I just didn't know how closing it would be this simple. So a person gave me the idea of give a dying man his last wish. He wanted me to bring him a pack of cigarettes. And I was a health freak even back then. And I said, absolutely not. That's what we fought about. But 9 years later, 9 years after his passing, when the idea was proposed to me, it fell on me like a ton of bricks. Well, of course, like I already felt so much lighter. Part of this annual depression ritual was my going to his grave every year and just puking out how much I hated life and what was going on for me. This time, though, in 1999, when I had this idea, I was going in with a very different sense of it now. Now I'm going in with a confidence and knowing that this was going to finally close this thing for me. So here I am waiting in a grocery store online in the Bronx to buy a pack of cigarettes. And if you know me, I am a health freak. Never in my life did I think I'd be buying cigarettes. But I buy a pack of cigarettes. I jump over this wall and this gate because the cemetery was already closed. I get in. And when I got to his grave, I just fell to my knees. And it was a completely different experience now from the 9 years leading up to that point. I placed my hand on tombstone and then I smoked half the pack of cigarettes. I left the remaining half in the pack and I took the pack and I slipped it behind the tombstone. And then I placed my hand on the tombstone one last time and I gave my last goodbye. That was in 1999, and I never felt the need to go back. Now, that may sound super simple as a solution, and it is. But the interesting thing is that I've realized is we can't see the solutions when our head is underwater and we're drowning. We have to very least have to get our head above water to be able to look around and see land. And then when we see land, we have a direction in which to swim toward. And that land represents a possible solution or a definite solution. So when somebody gave me this idea, it was the definite solution. Now I knew the direction in which to swim in. And given that he was my mentor, when I'd lost my mentor, I'd lost a lot of guidance. So I was free flowing and just lost. So the reason that I do this, my deeper why, is to pay it forward. I create environments in which men create deep bonds of brotherhood and men produce massive transformations in their lives. And I'm the ritual dude. I'm all about it. There's a great book called Legacy 15 Lessons in Leadership by James Kerr. And in that book, he talks a lot about it's about the New Zealand All Blacks, the famous rugby team that revived the traditional Maori practice of the haka, which is really great, robust masculine expression. And one of the lessons is ritualize to actualize. And I am very big on rituals. And I started this video talking about Joseph Campbell. Joseph Campbell's great mission was to find the one great story of humanity, right? For me, it's to find the one great set of rituals that really produces transformation. And myth leads to ritual. Because I remember even doing a class in college called Myth and Ritual, based partly on Joseph Campbell's work. So while Campbell was about the myth, I'm about the ritual. That's what I do, and that's how I produce transformation for men. So again, if this is something that really speaks to you, if this really calls to you, anything that you've heard here, post a comment or just register right at the site or send a message from there. Be happy to hear from you and answer any questions at all that you've got. Thanks so much.